One of the things I love about One Rental at a Time is we get wonderful experts. And more importantly, these are experts doing business today. These are not theoretical. These are not people that read an article and come to talk about it. We have Beth Traverso, a top 1% agent across the country, bringing us real live, up-to-date information from King County in AKA Seattle, Washington. So Beth, welcome to the show. Make sure you give credit where credit is due. And let's talk about what happened in May.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. Hey, it's a beautiful day to be talking about real estate and happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we have our May data for King County, Washington, which, like you said, is the kind of greater Seattle market. And we do have we can get nitty gritty down and dirty with the data here from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. They're the ones that publish this data. So we're going to do a screen share so we can look at kind of the year over year, inventory prices, and there's some interesting trends that I want to chat about with you and everybody here. So let's take a look at that.
And if I remember May of last year, because you and I have been talking for quite a while, that was was that almost peak craziness?
It was peak. So median price peaked in May of 2022 at $1 million for King County.
Okay.
And then it bottomed in January at about 800. And then now you can see we're back down at the bottom. Here is where all the real data is down here. And it shows the median home price in May of this year was 910, where last year you can see it was 998.
Yeah. And this is, this data here, and thankfully to you led to one of my crazy calls on January 2nd. I said, we're going to have 3 or 4 months where data is going to be negative. And it was because of peak craziness. So now that we've hit peak for King County, I'm going to strongly suspect by, what would this be, May? So probably by September, you're going to be positive again.
I'm thinking maybe even sooner than that, because but you're right. So we had this crazy surge this spring and late spring of last year, where things were going 10 to 20% over list price. The list to sale price ratio for all of King County peaked at over 112, and it was 119 in my east side area, and then it fell off a cliff around May last year. And then by the time we get to the data next month, so our median sale price in June of 2022 was 927, and we're at 910 now. So I'm thinking we might even bridge that gap as soon as in our area as soon as next month.
But
definitely by July.
By July. Yeah. This is what the crash bros and doomers don't understand. You and I called it out. There was peak unhealthy market behavior. When King County averages 112% of list price, that's not normal. The piper is going to be paid the following year. Yeah. So we're in it this month. So you're down 9% year on year.
Yeah, but we're up 4% month over month. So we're definitely on an upward trend. Yeah. So if you look beyond these numbers and the headlines that make it sound like the market is tanking, you can see the gap is getting smaller and smaller every month. And what I'm seeing out there still is very low inventory. We've got down here.
Yeah, you're at the bottom. 1 month supply.
So
you're
total 1.1. 1 month. Crazy. Right down here in the corner.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And you can see that, so new listings are down about 32% year over year. So, and that's the trend we've been seeing for a while. So we had 3,616 new listings in May last year. This year it was only 2,400. And this is a metropolitan area it's actually 2.25 million. I thought it was about 2 million, but I looked and it's 2.25 million in King County.
And you got 2,400 listings for a county of 2.2 million. That's not good.
And you can see the active listings is down 6.5. So.
And again, that was from peak craziness.
Peak crazy. Now, granted, we were maybe a little bit unlike some other metros last year where our inventory was even lower last year. And so to go below that, so we didn't have a lot of inventory last year. It was, when I look at the charts, it was the lowest it had ever been last year. And then that's part of what fueled that, and the very low interest rates are what fueled the explosion that caused those 3 or 4 real super frothy months.
Yeah, what I remember
we're still dealing with the hangover from that. So
what I remember most from our discussions, and you have a playlist on this channel, it's called Beth. People can go back and watch. you had days on market under 8. It was like 5 or 6 or something. And that was
Yeah.
offer review date stuff. It was wild. That's not supposed to happen for a market of 2.2 million people.
Not supposed to happen. We're not quite, so we are seeing multiple offers again with the low inventory, even around. So I have a listing today that's right around the median for my area, and we have 4 offers on it, and it is going over list price, and people are waiving everything, and they're releasing earnest money, and they're doing those things.
Are they releasing earnest money again?
First time I've seen that in a while. Yeah, I've got 2 that have released earnest money. They are offering that.
Oh, I
So
know.
they
I
come up with
understand.
that themselves to be competitive.
Wow, that's not
So
good.
released earnest money, people that don't know the terminology, that just means somebody's putting a deposit, an earnest money deposit down, and they're releasing it before closing directly to the seller. So it's basically an assurance to the seller that they're going to close because they don't want to lose their
Yeah, they're going to
$100,000 or
perform.
$50,000 or whatever it is that they're offering to release. So there is some we are still seeing that on certain properties, but I don't want people to get discouraged thinking that every situation is going to be like that, because it's very case.
I think you can answer this. If you can't, just tell me you can't. It's totally fine. So this listing you have, it's called $1 million. You have 4 offers. How many of them have loans?
3 of the 4 have loans.
So the other's cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, the reason that's important to me is rates are 7%.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wanted to go here is because the one and only Barbara Cochran recently came out with an article that shocked me. But the more I talk about it with experts, the more I think she's right. Beth, let's just pretend for a moment rates crashed from 7 to 5%. How many offers do you think you would have on this house? And where do you think the price points would be going? Because again, it's certainly more affordable at 5 than it is at 7. Do you think Barbara's calling for a 20% rise? I won't. It's crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about, but it could be possible. I'm not going to say for sure that I would 100%, say that that's where I would put the pin, but it definitely would create a surge in demand,
right? That's the key. It's the key. It's the demand. Like you go from 4 offers probably to
10. If we went from 4 to 10, then instead of going right now, we're, instead of going maybe 5% over list, it might go to 10% over list. Could happen.
And again, this is in a market that the median is much higher than the country, right? Barbara's talking 20% for the country. So, 20% on 300 is very different than 20% on a million.
Yeah. But and it's a lot for everybody. I mean, the people that are spending 300,000 on a house, that's a lot, for them. Whatever people are, it's always a lot. So it's just it just changes relative to people's situation, but the dynamics I think are pretty similar. And I do think when it's this basic economics, when the supply goes down, inventory is minimal, and you get a house that comes on the market that's a real gem that people are waiting for, they're gonna jump on it. And I think if we went to 5%, that we would see a lot more demand. But I don't know how much more inventory we would get. It's hard to say.
Exactly. No more supply. That's the problem. Yeah, that is the big problem. I'm curious, in this chart, which number is really your market of choice?
So for me, I'm 540 down here under the east side section. I'm 540 right here. And so we're down 37% in active listings, 18% fewer pending sales, 36% fewer closed sales. So I mean, even though the market's still rocking and rolling, transactions are down quite a bit.
And you have 1 month of supply. That's what you have. 1 month.
Yeah.
And if interest rates go to 5%, that 1 month's going to get cut in half at least.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we're in a market in Seattle where we tend to almost always have low supply. If you look back over the years, it stays pretty low. We don't ever get to that normal balance to 4 to 6 months, except in rare occasions back in, the crash days of 2008 to 2012. Back then, when we had a lot of surplus of inventory, that's when we started seeing that. But since then, we really haven't. And I was looking, at my area 540, which is basically rural east side, that of King County, that we're up 64% in median home price in the last 3 years. So,
Wow.
and that's even with this correct where we went up and then corrected, so
Right.
let's see, in 540, we're down, was it
6.
6.4%
Yep.
year over year,
Mhm.
but we're still, and that gap has closed, so that was more like 12, 13%. Now it's 6.4%.
Yeah.
So, and it's because the demand is still there, the supply is not coming. People that are buying now probably weren't looking a year ago.
Yeah.
Some are,
Yeah.
but most are new to this, and their life, their motivations in their life is that they want to buy a house regardless of whether the interest rate is lower, maybe where they were living before.
Yeah.
So the
The
pull
other
has become strong enough that they're willing to let that go. A lot of people I'm seeing, they are selling their house still. I'm starting to see more of that. We're getting
Oh,
offers
good.
where they sold their house already. They're sitting on the cash. They're ready to purchase now.
Okay.
Or sometimes people are putting in offers contingent on their pending home sale closing, where it's like, okay, once
Ah.
this home sale closes, then we'll have the funds to purchase yours. And I am seeing some of that too. So the people who have a sufficient motivation are doing that. They're selling their house, rolling that equity into the new house.
Yeah, the biggest difference I'm seeing today versus what we saw, I think it was August of last year, is 7% is not the screeching to the halt that we saw last time. People have gotten used to it. And
Yeah. It felt like
yeah,
panic because it all happened so fast. People didn't know what to do. And when people, bless you, when people don't know what to do, they do nothing. So the buyers were sitting out on the sidelines because something scary is happening and I don't know what to do. I need some time to regroup and think about what we want to do about this.
right.
Meanwhile, the sellers whose houses are on the market, they usually already had plans where they were going and they needed to go. They still got to finish their house in Arizona or wherever and move into Idaho or whatever. They were, we had a lot of people going out of state, retiring out of state or what have you, and they need the funds from their house regardless of what
Right.
interest rates are. Their plans are already in motion. And so then we saw some people were getting really anxious, and then we're seeing price reductions because that's the only lever you can pull if everything else is good, but the market's
Right.
shifting. Then you have to change the price until a buyer strikes, and that's why we saw these big price corrections in the summer of last year.
Yeah.
And that's when so it really hit the brakes fast and everything went down, down, down. And then it leveled out, and we've been just kind of staying pretty. I haven't seen any significant declines since last summer. Things bounced along pretty steady. And now, as you can see, we're going year over year below that bubble, if you want to call it that,
Right.
in the numbers that we saw last, February through April, May. But once we pull out of that again, our year over year numbers that gap is gonna close.
Yeah.
And we might even
Beth,
be a little bit positive here in a month or two,
I think
potentially.
I think a couple months it's going to shock people that Seattle is now positive year on year because
So that's
you've
gonna be the
gotten past that.
headline. Yeah. Oh, we thought Seattle was dying and now it's back. So mhm.
Folks, go back and take a listen to Beth's amazing playlist. Beth, if somebody wanted to buy or sell in King County, or better yet, get a referral from a top 1% agent because top 1% agents work together, how would they do that?
Yeah, I've been connecting with some wonderful people through the One Rental at a Time community, by the way, meeting some really awesome folks out there all over the country. So they can reach out to me through my website is the easiest way, bethtraversogroup.com, or just Google me and find me on social, or message me that way. And I'm here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.